We'll start right up front in the middle here.
Congratulations, Will.
Thank you.
Can you just tell me what was going through your mind during all of the innings, coming back and being so effective tonight?
Just keep going. You know, we weren't losing that game, and so if I had to keep going back out there, I was going to keep doing that and doing all I could to put up a zero, and then sit back down and go do it again.
Far back on your right.
You guys having Alex's number on your cap, can you tell me just how that came about?
You know, I'd like to let them speak about that when they want to, but just keeping them in our thoughts and our prayers. And you know, there's bigger things than baseball, and you know, he's in all of our hearts.
About 6 rows back on your left, Russ.
Hey, well, can you tell me when the last time you had thrown 72 pitches was, and when tonight you knew that you'd have to, you know, really take a bulk of those innings?
Probably college. My junior year when I was still a starter. Well, I realized that when I looked around in the bullpen and my name was the only one still there. And so, you know, I was just going to go until I couldn't. And, you know, that's kind of what happened. And thankfully, Freddie saved us from Yama having to do the same thing.
All right, 3rd row on your left, Tyler.
Yeah, congratulations. A couple questions. Was that your last inning for sure? The 18th?
I think so. I sure hope so.
And the first 3, you know, went pretty quickly. How much of a grind was it to get through that 4th inning? A couple of walks, wild pitch. How much do you have to dig deep there?
Yeah, a lot. Started to feel it, and you know, there are times when like you're starting to feel down, and you feel your legs aren't there, or your arms not there, and you just gotta be like, well, you know, who else is gonna come save me? You know, and so I had to dig deep, do it myself, and you know, hearing our guys in the dugout and the fans kind of come behind, especially with Will calling, you know, that last curveball, I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. And, you know, just having those guys kind of takes all the fatigue out of you and stuff.
Also, how did you stay sharp, you know, earlier in the playoffs when you weren't on the roster? And then was it a surprise to be put on the World Series roster?
We were in Arizona, throwing live ABs once a week to their guys there, and then, you know, playing catch and you know, trying to stay in it mentally. And it wasn't easy, but, you know, we had guys there that, you know, made it possible and stuff. And so having those guys around really helped.
2nd row on your right, Jack.
Well, like you start this year in another organization. You kind of bounce back and forth over the last couple months. I mean, could you have ever imagined a moment like this when you're going through some of that stuff? Like, do you think about, like, you know, wanting to be ready in case like a situation like this happens, or what did it kind of feel like to have gone through that now and you know, had this kind of night?
Yeah, I don't think I could have ever imagined that this would happen. You know, I mean, at the start of this year, I was still with the A's, and then, you know, we ended up with the Mariners, and then here, you know, just even that was crazy. And then we were at home, and then, you know, got to go to Toronto, get added, and I was excited for that. And then now, like, you don't ever expect these things, but, you know, you got to stay in it, you know, mentally and physically, and just in case. And, you know, you never think it's going to be like this crazy, but just being able to stay ready and, you know, help the guys that have worked their butts off for this.
And then Dave told the broadcast, I think during the 16th inning, that he was not going to push you past the 17th. Were you guys having conversations about how long you could go? Did you fight to go back out there? And did like Yamamoto going to the pen change the calculus at all from what you know, or what was that like?
I just said I was going to keep going. Each time I came back in, they're like, how many more? As many as you guys need, you know. And, you know, Freddie hit that home run, so we didn't have to find out. Yama throwing out of the pen on 1-day rest after 9 innings would have been insane, but that's the kind of guy he is. So, you know, he wants it too, and I mean, we all just wanted that so bad, but we did not have to find out.
Far back on your left, Will.
Hey, Will. First off, congratulations. You know, throughout this year, you know, you're kind of back and forth between AAA and the big league ball club, and someone else referenced it being left off the previous playoff rosters. You know, could you say that coming into tonight, maybe use that as motivation, or was it just kind of a 1 inning at a time type of inning?
Yeah, it was 1 inning at a time. You know, I was out there, you know, going one pitch, trying to get each guy out that I faced. You know, it wasn't like I was angry that I was left off. You know, there are other really good pitchers that were added, and, you know, like, originally it was like a little disappointing, but, you know, you can't be mad to get added to the World Series roster. And so I wasn't thinking about that. I was more so like, I'm just going to go out there, do what I can to, help all these guys that have worked their butts off,
Fourth row on your right, Julian.
When you look at, like, obviously, probably right now you're spent, right? And Shohei reached base 9 times, and you look up tomorrow and says, oh, he's your starting pitcher. What thoughts come to your mind about him when you think about that?
He's a freak. I mean, that guy, I don't know how anyone can do what he does, being the best hitter and the best pitcher, in the league. I don't think there's a word to describe other than he's, the GOAT. But, I mean, just getting to be teammates with him is, a great honor. So, I mean, he's going to go out there and shove tomorrow, and we'll be like, man, he was on base 9 times yesterday, and he's not tired at all. So.
Far back in the middle, AJ.
I know you had pitched 4 innings and were maybe thinking about pitching a 5th. So what were your emotions like when Freddie hit that home run, and where were you when it happened?
Relief. No, just pure excitement. I mean, 18 innings, 17 innings of like pure grit and determination of, everyone on that team, the guys that didn't play, the guys that aren't on the roster, like everyone was into that game with their all. And so just, that was kind of the epitome of what the team's done all year, and just having Freddie do it like he would, just kind of was the cherry on top.
What were you doing the second that it happened? Were you having conversations? Were you watching it? Where were you specifically?
I was sitting on the railing. You kind of gut feeling, and then I blacked out. So I don't remember what I did after that.
Tyler in the third row.
Well, did you grow up expecting or wanting to be a pitcher? Or you were a catcher for a little while, right? How did that transition come about?
Yeah. I always liked pitching. I caught growing up too, and I always wanted to be a pitcher. But I think my mom hates when I say this, but like going to like prospect camps and talking to schools, I always wanted to like go to college as a pitcher, and she wanted me to stay as like do both, stay well-rounded. You never know what'll happen. And then I think senior year I broke my thumb on my throwing hand, and so that kind of like nixed like catching and hitting, and so I still tried to throw, and then I ended up like I pitched in summer ball, and that's when like teams were like, all right, like we want you to pitch, and so that's kind of where that went, and I'm glad I don't catch. I still feel it in my knees though sometimes.
Go to Russ on the left.
Well, I know you were in the clubhouse briefly before you came in here. Did you get to check your phone and see how many text messages you had?
I looked at it and then put it down. I'd never seen that many notifications in my life. I don't know if I'll get through them in the next month, but I'm gonna try to get back to people. I have a lot of people to thank that have gotten me where I am today, and so those people, I'll try to get back to them and do my best to respond to everyone that's supported me.
Do 2 last ones. Doug up to your right.
And well, you threw 72 pitches tonight. Your previous career high was 36. Just how are you feeling right now? Just your level of exhaustion, and just what were you feeding off to kind of get through this?
I don't think that's set in yet. Just pure adrenaline. Just that I had that thought in my mind that we weren't going to lose this game, and so each time I went out and I felt my legs were tired, I'm like, well, who cares? Like no one else is going to care that my legs are tired right now. The hitter doesn't care, so why should I? And just finding it in me to throw one more pitch and then throw another one after that, and then sitting down and getting back up. The same thought going back out there for the next one, like putting up a 0. We're not losing this game. So that's kind of what got me through it, and then Freddie.
And then the Freddie celebration, and then they all go over to you and circle around you and celebrate with you. What did that mean? Do you just have them embrace you like that in that moment?
That was so cool. I never, dreamed that anything like this would happen. And so just, having the guys like Kersh, Freddie, Shohei, Mookie, like all those guys, like, kind of celebrating me for a second there was just insane. I don't think I could have, dreamt a dream that good. So that was crazy.
One last one for Will. All right, Will, congrats on a great night. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Oh, my God.